good, y'all? Welcome back to Rick Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek, and I want to welcome all the new subscribers that I got to the channel, man. I got about like 50 new subs today. Yeah, kind of crazy. I got a kind of a shout out from my guy Kenny Beecham. I was wearing his merch in my video yesterday. You guys didn't notice his call game merch, sponsored with Champion. I was rocking that in the video, and his merch just dropped, and a lot of people just finally got theirs delivered to him, and he's just doing his thing. Like, you tag him on your Instagram story, and he'll repost you. And I was kind of surprised that he picked mine to repost, but I posted a screenshot of my video with the merch on, and I pretty much put in the caption like, check out my YouTube, and then I tagged the hashtag call game, and I tagged him in the post, and he shared it to his Instagram story. So that was big time, but I didn't really expect all the support to come in too. But Kenny's community, I'm part of his community, really runs deep. And if you guys are here from Kenny's Instagram story or from his channel or whatever, I thank you guys for coming, and let me know in the comments if that's where you came from, so I can show some love, show some support for you guys, because I really appreciate it. And Kenny's one of the the best in the community. I'm gonna tag his channels in the description for anybody that's not familiar with his content. He does a lot of 2K, but where he really inspired me was with the NBA community. Everything that he does as far as in the media, his podcast, getting to interview players, and he's just really a bright mind, knows how to break the game down, and he just gives like a different flair to the way that he analyzes the game. And he's just somebody that kind of inspired me, just to inspired a whole bunch of people to let us know that there's more than one route to take this media game on. And he's always adamant on saying that he wants to be a part of the change in the media, because the media has kind of a negative persona about it, and he wants to be a part of that change. And I definitely want to be alongside him on that journey, man. I'm kind of nervous right now because it's kind of big time, because that's my favorite YouTuber and just one of my biggest, like, I want to say like role models, because he's definitely put a lot of people on. If you guys could clip this, send it to him if you're from Kenny's community. I just want to let him know thank you, because that's a big time jump for me, just starting this YouTube stuff a couple weeks ago, so I appreciate it. But you guys already know what I'm here to do. We're gonna break down some of the games tonight, and of course I gotta touch on the Celtics Lakers. That historic rivalry, tough game, especially as a Celtics fan, very tough game, but it was also a good game, very entertaining game. And Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown gave it everything they got, but it was Kemba Walker just didn't have that Kemba Walker game that you was looking for. Really struggled 1 for 12 from the floor, but Brown and Tatum was doing everything that they could to put their team on their backs. They combined for 58 points. Tatum had 30, Brown had 28. Shot the ball really efficiently too. So it's not like they were taking bad shots. They were hitting some tough shots, but ultimately LeBron, AD, Schroeder, and Montrezl Harrell and those guys, they just proved to be a little bit too much, and it came right down to the wire, right down to the last shot. If you guys haven't seen the final possession, it was kind of a crazy one. And I've been hypercritical on Jason Tatum closing games, because he did close the Bucks game out earlier this season, and he's closed some games out before in his career, but I'm never really a fan of the shots that he takes. I feel like he takes a lot of tough shots, especially down the stretch, and I'm very critical because I feel like he can get way better shots than what he does. Because he's such a talented offensive player, I feel like he shouldn't make it so hard on himself. But in this game, Boston was down by 5 late, and he was taking AD into the lane, and he was getting good shots. They were tough shots because you're being guarded by AD. Anthony Davis was like one of the best defenders in the league. Big, small guard, it doesn't matter. He's one of the best in the league. And Tatum was taking him into the lane. The first one he hit when they was trailing by 5, the Celtics was like a fall away jump shot from around the free throw line area. It was a tough shot, but he made it look easy. And then very next possession down, after Boston got a stop, I want to say it was a floater. Like, he took AD into the lane, got a good angle, and got a floater off. and they were both pure shots. Knocked both of them down and cut the lead down to 1. And then the final possession was just had me standing up. Like, I haven't stood up for a game like this in a long time. Because, one, it's my team, my Celtics, and then 2, it's just like it's an exciting finish to this game. And what had happened was they tried to run. If you guys watched the Philadelphia 76ers Laker game the other night, they tried to run that same play where AD got the go-ahead layup, where Schroeder sets the screen on the baseline, and then AD cuts hard. But Kemba Walker did a really good job. He bumped AD on the cut, so he couldn't get the switch off all the way. But then AD ended up getting the post up. I believe he had Jason Tatum. Actually, it might have been Jaylen Brown on him. He had Jaylen Brown on him. And then, Tatum was kind of shadowing, but he was going to LeBron at the top, so he couldn't really help all the way because, LeBron's pretty clutch in his own right. He will knock down that shot to ice the game. But then Kemba Walker ended up coming up over weak side and getting the strip very, at the end of the shot clock as AD went up for the turnaround jump shot. And then Kemba got the strip, got the loose ball, almost threw a turnover. Like, Jaylen Brown did a great job running that ball down because that would have been a turnover. But Jaylen Brown ran it down, swung it back to Semi Ojeleye, who swung it to Kemba Walker. And then Kemba Walker had, I believe, Dennis Schroeder one-on-one on the island. Gave him the pump fake, drove going left, then hit his patented step back. But it was just a little too strong. And that's just the kind of night it was for Kemba, 1 for 12 on the game. Very tough night for him. I know I'm talking a lot about my Celtics, but I got to because it was a tough game to lose, but it was also just a great game to watch. It was a very back and forth game. Also, Daniel Tice had a chance for a putback, but it was a little short. Just a really great game, man. Shout out AD for having a big game in Boston, 27-14. Those are just numbers that, you can't understate. And, he definitely had a force in the game. And Montrezl Harrell came off the bench and played really well for them. That's just another added element to this team, man. Having Montrezl Harrell coming off the bench, 8 of 10 shooting, just doing Montrezl Harrell type things. And then the shoulder also just adds like another element to this team. And Kyle Kuzma's been playing pretty good, this season. Honestly, kind of under the radar in my opinion. Then the shoulder also played well. Braun, of course, just doing, even on what seems like an okay night for Braun. It's still a good night, 21-7-7, and he just made timely plays. Like in the fourth quarter, he was making play after play, especially putting the ball in the basket. Just a great game. If you guys didn't get to watch it, I would definitely try and rewatch it if you could, because it was a really great game, one of the best so far in this young season. The next game I want to talk about is the Bucks and the Hornets, and I don't want to talk so much about the Hornets. I will definitely touch on them because they won this game. I want to talk about the Bucks. I feel like they're kind of stuck in their ways a little bit, honestly. They have this thing, Coach Bud gets a lot of criticism, and I think rightfully so. He just kind of sticks to his brand of basketball that he coaches, and it's especially evident on the defensive end where they give up the three-point shot and they clog the paint up. And, in this era of basketball, I'm not really a fan of that. And I know most people aren't a fan of it either, especially I'm sure Buck fans aren't either. Because, this season, I've just seen a stat that says 7 teams have had their best shooting game of the season against the Bucks, like most made threes. And in those games, the Bucks are 1-6. So 6 of their losses this season have been in those games where they give up, they give up the most threes that the team has hit all season, basically. I just don't think that's a formula for winning basketball. I mean, in the regular season, it's okay, but this is something that Coach Bud carries into the playoffs. Like, he doesn't make adjustments. And, when I talk to my dad a lot, we always have this conversation, like Coach Bud, Mike D'Antoni, they're just guys that are stuck in their ways too much. And that's why I don't think that they're championship caliber coaches. I mean, obviously we seen Mike D'Antoni get as far as he could with that Houston Rocket team. And, it's yet to be seen with Coach Bud this season how far this team can go. But, I think maybe so far this season it's not as promising. Maybe that's a good thing for the Bucks, so to fly under the radar a little bit. But 11-8, they just haven't really been that impressive. I mean, Chris Middleton's been impressive. Giannis, of course, is just going to do Giannis things. Kind of waiting for Jrue Holiday to get into the flow a little bit. I hope it's not like a Mike Conley situation where Mike Conley just never found found his footing in that offense in the first year. I mean, when a guy is in one system for so long and all of a sudden has to come to another one, I mean, it just might take longer for some players to adjust than others. That's maybe what we have to face with the Bucks. But I just hope for the love of Bucks fans that hopefully adjustments will be made by Coach Bud when it matters the most. Because right now, still playing the same brand of basketball that hasn't been successful for them the last 2 years. But on the other side, the Hornets. I mean, a lot of people said after the LaMelo draft pick and then the Gordon Hayward signing, it's going to be a fun team. It is a fun team, like really fun team to watch. LaMelo had his highest scoring game of the season so far, 27 points. He had 9 assists too. And then I also seen another stat that I think Legion Hoops posted it on Twitter. It was Lonzo had 27 and 8 assists last night. LaMelo had 27 and 9 tonight. It's just cool stat. Both of the brothers having some of their best games of the season against the Bucks, both against the same team. That's kind of cool. But I like the Miles Bridges and LaMelo connection. And I was somebody that was saying that in like the preseason when I just seen it. I'm like, they're in the second unit. That's gonna be something that they're gonna click, because Miles Bridges is somebody that runs the floor hard. He's showtime when he gets in the open court. And LaMelo, of course, already is a great passer on the NBA level, especially in the open court. So, that's just a quick takeaway from them, man. Really good young team. Excited to see how they continue to grow, because showing some signs. I mean, Miles Bridges has been good this season, in my opinion. He's definitely shown vast improvements. Like, he's been shooting the 3-ball better early in the season. So, this team, right now they're in the playoffs, 9-11. Not great, but they've shown really good signs, and they're always going to be a fun team to watch. So, definitely keep tabs on the Charlotte Hornets as the season continues on. Yeah, and y'all should know what time it is, man. It's Dame time. Damian Lillard putting his backpack on and carrying the Blazers to a win against the Chicago Bulls. It looked like the Bulls had that game in the bag. And then Dame time happened, man. Hit a deep 3 to cut the lead down to 2. And then Zach LaVine got tied up, jump ball. Might have been a foul depending on who you are, but it didn't really look like it was a tie-up, in my opinion. I've been watching a lot of high school basketball because I commentate high school basketball games. And I think I know what a jump ball looks like. And that didn't really look like a jump ball. It looked like Zach LaVine definitely had possession of the ball for sure. But Portland ended up winning the jump. And then Dame Lillard step back 3. My bad, sidestep 3. About the right corner for the game at the buzzer. 44 points, 9 assists. And that's just a Dame Lillard's like game. And with CJ McCollum being out for extended period of time, get well soon, CJ. It's gonna be Dame time a lot. I mean, he might have to put his backpack on again, like how he did last season. And that's another team that I'm really critical about, because I was high on them coming into the season. I thought the additions of Robert Covington, Derrick Jones Jr. was going to be, very helpful for their defense. I know they've had injuries, like Yusuf Nurkic is back out again. So they've had their fair share of injuries, and of course CJ McCollum out even after he's having a career year, which I just hate to see, man. I hate injuries so much. But it just might be Dame's time to continue to put his cape on and save the Blazers once again, as he did tonight. Portland's 10-8 on the season, and that Western Conference, it just shifts every day. Like, I think a few days ago they were just like 5th, and now they're back down to, I'd say 8th. I think 7th. Yeah, they're 7th now. So that conference shifts every day. So we'll see how they can weather the storm until they get healthy and until they get their defensive chemistry together, because there's no reason why this team shouldn't be at least an average defense. They're one of the worst in the league right now, especially among good teams. I believe they have a negative point differential, so that's never good, for a playoff team. So we'll see as their season goes on. And as for the Bulls, hopefully Wendell Carter gets back. I hate to see young players, especially, still with the injury bug. I feel like he's always hurt, it seems like. So I just hope he gets healthy, man, because I just want to see his development. I have high hopes for him. potentially as, being a good defensive big in this league. At least, coming out of college, I thought, he had a really good chance of being, one of those, really good defenders at the big man position. But Lauri Markkanen had a really good game tonight. And he's had a good season since he's been back from, I think he was dealing with virus issues. So he's had a really good season since he came back. I mean, he had 31 tonight. Shot it pretty efficiently, too. I think he's averaging around 19 on the season. That's just promising because, obviously, in Jim Boylen's system last year, he just wasn't getting touches. And I believe this might be year 4 for Lauri. That's going by fast. It's crazy, but I believe, year 2, he was, starting to come into his own. And then last year with Jim Boylen just, I'm not even going to get into it because I know Bulls fans, they know the vibes. Like, they know exactly how Jim Boylen is. So I'm not even going to talk too much about that. But, Zach LaVine was excellent once again. Really could be an all-star this season. Bulls have lost a few close games. It definitely has to be painful. Kobe White had another good offensive game. It's been kind of off lately, but it's good to see him, get back into a little bit of a groove, hopefully. That's my Carolina Tar Heels, so I definitely always have high hopes for him. Speaking of some Tar Heels, man, the Phoenix Suns got one. My guy Cam Johnson had a pretty solid season back in the starting lineup. But, hey, another one of my guys, Chris Paul. I'm not even going to say turning back the clock. I think he's starting to get his legs under him a little bit. 29 points, 12 assists tonight. In the win, still no Devin Booker in the lineup, but hey, Chris Paul showing why he's still a point guard, man. I think Phoenix, I'm hoping that they start to figure out how to win these close games and how to close out teams. And it seemed like tonight they did it, and Chris Paul was a big reason of that. He was, finding his teammates. Jared Crowder knocking down some clutch threes. DeAndre Ayton finishing in the paint. I'm hopeful that this team, can get it together a little bit because they've lost some close ones, some games that they probably shouldn't have lost this season. It's just good to see them start to get a little bit of a rhythm. DeAndre Ayton had a pretty good game, 18.17 rebounds. Just want to see him be more aggressive, man. Me and my dad were talking. We're just like, man, I think he's a little, we didn't want to say soft, but just a little has an aggressiveness problem. Like, he's one of the biggest dudes on the court, but lets to shoot fadeaway jump shots out of the post when he has a switch. Like, dude, you gotta take that one power dribble, drop step into somebody, and go up and try to dunk everything. Like, you gotta do that, man. But he's still young, and I'm sure Chris Paul's probably trying to preach that to him because we know how Chris Paul is as a teammate. He wants his teammates to be excellent, and we're just going to see as this season goes on, man, for Phoenix. But on the other side, they beat the Dallas Mavericks, another loss for them. I seen a stat last night that Dallas hadn't gone on a 3-game losing streak since, I think, 2019. And, they're on a pretty decent losing streak here. I want to say it's 4 games now, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, if I'm counting it as 4 games. Yeah, 4-game losing streak for the Dallas Mavericks. They had back-to-back losses. Actually, it's 5 games. I'm sorry, I miscounted. Including tonight, it's 5 games. So that offense just doesn't seem as potent as it was, man. I don't know what the issue is. It just doesn't seem as potent. And I'm just gonna hope that they get it fixed. Maybe Porzingis just has to get in a little bit of rhythm because coming back from injury. So I'm gonna try and be patient. It's still kind of early in the season, but we're getting to the point where it's okay to worry about teams because trends start to build, and maybe this is just not Dallas's year on the offensive end right now. I mean, we're gonna see, Luka's as good as he can be, but he can't control everybody on the offensive side, so something has to give for that Dallas team. And transitioning to another Texas team, the Houston Rockets pick up a win against the Pelicans, who I had like a 8-minute segment on them in my video yesterday. So if you guys missed that, definitely check it out. It'll be at the end of this video on the screen. But yeah, Christian Wood, another big game, and the Rockets are 500 now. They're 9-9. They've been looking really good, and like I said, they just have an interesting team, a team that I think is going to be fun to watch. I mean, John Wall, Oladipo, Christian Wood's been a great story this season. And they still have like winning players like PJ Tucker on that team. They're just finding a way to win some of these games. And hey, Steven Silas is putting it together right now. I mean, he has the guys that want to be there, I guess. Jury's still out on PJ Tucker. I'm not sure if he still wants to be there, but he's still hooping, still playing pretty solid for them. At Houston, like to see that. And then, the Pelicans, like I said, defensively they're just not there. They had their best shooting night of the season against the Bucks the other night. So who knows how many times that's ever gonna happen again this season. Still a team that really just has to figure it out, man. Zion had a Zion type night, efficient from the field, 26 points, 7 rebounds, good game from him. B.I. struggled. It's like Bledsoe played pretty well too. Well, pretty okay. Outside of Zion, nobody else really played well. I mean, just not a good game from them. Like I said, I'm just gonna leave it at this: the most confusing team in the NBA to me. And I'm gonna get to the next game because I don't want to talk for another 7 minutes about the Pelicans. The Warriors, they blew out the Pistons. I just feel like that's worth noting because the Pistons have beaten some good teams this season. So, they showed that they're a competitive bad team, if that makes sense. It was good to see, good and bad to see Klay Thompson commentating the game a little bit. It was just good to see Klay Thompson, but it's bad because, we all wish he was on the court. Just one of the most likable players in the league. We just all wish he was on the court because the game's better when Klay Thompson is out there, man. One half of the Splash Brothers. But it's good to see him and Steph interact a little bit after the game. That's just a fun moment. But, Steph had a good game. And it's good to see the Warriors playing a little bit better. James Wiseman's had a good week. Draymond Green's still impacting the game like he does. Kelly Oubre's been playing, better. And Wiggins he's continuing a pretty good season. I mean, his numbers may be down from previous years, but defensively he's been looking a lot better. You just like to see that from Andrew Wiggins as kind of, I guess, a second option-ish to Steph Curry. Not bad for him, averaging 18 a game. And the most important part, like I said, he's been good on the defensive end, so that's good to see from him. John Morant is making plays like he always does. Grizzlies beat the Spurs pretty handily in San Antonio. I was talking about the Spurs last night as one of those teams that is definitely one to tune into. That Grizzly team's the same way. And once they get Triple J back, hey, look out for the Grizzlies. I'm gonna just say that right now. I think they're a team that definitely shouldn't be underrated. I kind of underrated them coming into the season. Didn't think that they would make a huge jump because they didn't make a lot of additions in the offseason. But guys getting better was their addition. So shout out to the Grizzlies. Over 500 now. Still over 500, 8-6 from the season. Good win for them in San Antonio. The Heat got a close win. I didn't get to tune into this game. They beat the Kings by 1. Jimmy Butler's back. 30 points for him. That's nice to see. Just want to see Miami get healthy. That's just one thing. I got to see them get healthy because we know that they're a really good team. We just hope that, the injury bug stays away from them because they've been dealing with that so much early in the season. Also, virus stuff. Something that you just hate to see. You want to see a good team be as close to 100%. And that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning into the video. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video. And I'm going to definitely be back next time with another version of Rick Knows Hoops. Once again, I appreciate all the love I've been getting today. 80 subs is a big time goal. I didn't think I'd reach it this quick, but shout out to Kenny for giving me that shout out on his page. Definitely you guys check out his pages. I'm gonna leave the links in the description. Check him out, show him some love. One of the biggest parts of this community, if not the biggest. Definitely huge inspiration to me and me doing everything that I'm doing. So I appreciate him, and I appreciate everybody that came from his shout out to check out my page, and it's been showing mad love since. So I'm gonna definitely continue to give you guys the best content that I can give. I'm gonna be back next time, y'all. Peace.